Life could be a dream. Life could be a dream. Do 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 shaboom. Life could be a dream. If I could take you up in paradise up above. If you would...
Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome our host, the one, the only, Clint Coleman.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Clint Cummings Talk Show. So for today's episode, we will talk about the strategic leadership for effective organization. So before we go to our next guest, let me have some small introduction about the foundation of effective leadership. So, strategic leadership establishes common work team vision. It sets goals that are realistic and achievable. They follow a decision-making strategy and they are practicing effective communication skills that contribute to problem solving and conflict resolution. Strategic leadership and management is very important because it basically develops managerial events in anticipating future events in the business environment. The success of the firm's operation rested with the ability of the leaders to apply leadership strategies in managing human capital. Failure of the leader to initiate strategic leadership develops ripple effects that will be felt in and outside the organization. So you see, the firm's growth rate is basically the result of effective leadership. That is why leaders must be careful in every decision they made. So, there are 8 characteristics of effective strategic leadership. Number 1 is handang gumawa ng isang tapat at matapang na desisyon na mahirap ngunit kinakailangan. In short, ang isang leader ay isang risk taker. Pangalawa, ang isang leader ay advance mag-isip upang maiwasan ang mga posibleng umiiral na kalagayan ng ating kapaligiran, tulad ng ating nararanasan ngayon, ang global health crisis. Pangatlo, alam nila ang mga kapalit ng kanilang mga desisyon. In short, the leaders are fully aware of the consequences of their decisions. Pang-apat is of course, leaders must not forget their employees' needs and they must trust their employees' abilities or capabilities in dealing with the problem. Number 5, an effective leader ay dapat nag-motivate or di kaya binibigyan ng rewards ang kanilang empleyado upang gaganahan sa pagtatrabaho. Pang-anim, dapat marunong kumolekta sa mga suwestyon ang isang leader sa kanyang mga empleyado at siguraduhin na ito ay nakakatulong sa negosyo. 7, an effective leader ay dapat marunong makipag-ugnayan sa kanyang mga empleyado at sa anumang bagay. Panghuli, dapat may good communication skills ang isang leader dahil ito ay nagdadala ng epektibong pag-unawa. Dahil dito, nagkakaunawa tayo sa mga strategies para sa ikabubuti ng ating negosyo. So now, help me welcome our first guest. He is the owner of PhilHealth Organization, the most healthier person living in the earth, and he will share to us about the managerial leadership as organizational resources and rationale in establishing work teams of corporate managers. No other than Mr. Mark Boris. A round of applause, please.
So thank you for that warm welcome, Mr. Coming. I didn't see that coming. So by the way, guys, I am Mark Boris, and today we're gonna talk about the chapter 9, which is the managerial leadership as organizational resources. So guys, are you ready? Okay. So the first slide, so as we can read, managerial leadership is where taking advantage and using the current and available resources. So kung maingon tag current available resources, it does not only talk about the materials that the firm have, but it also includes making use of the each employee's skills that the firm have. So it is the greatest investment of the firm's goals and competitive advantage. So as a manager, you must be the one to lead your people and motivate them in order to achieve the greatest efficiency and productivity. Because as a leader does not only mandate what to do to their employees, but we also teach them in order to carry the whole team in order to achieve our goals. So, next slide. So in the second slide, which is the rationale in establishing work teams of corporate managers. So the global economy is rapidly changing, which corporate organizations must go along with the fast-changing industry because countries all over the world are racing for economic supremacy and leading corporate organizations who are inventing new ways in order to make products and services more affordable. So it means that they are looking for a new market and develop competitive advantage in their marketing products. So the next bullet is the industries and organizations are looking for new dynamic businesses or business environment rather, and would like to create new business opportunities that would able to enhance their global penetration and develop greater corporate returns. So the last one is technological advancement is the business of corporate strategies and organizations has to race towards that direction in order to produce more products with higher quality standards. So that's all, and thank you.
So, our next presenter will be telling us about the dynamics of top-level decision making. Our one and only love tripper in answering the modules of her siblings, Miss Mojo Lor Pinagayo. A round of applause.
The dynamics of top-level decision-making. Top-level decision-making involves three important areas that have something to do with the operation of the firm. Strategic decision-making are made according to a company's goal or mission. This decision could take the company into new direction that may or may not succeed. Managers need to think outside the box as they think of new possibilities for the business and how these possibilities may play out. Organizational environment denotes internal and external environment factors influencing organizational and decision making. Every organization, whether business or non-business, has its environment. The organizational environment is always dynamic and ever-changing. Changes today are so frequent and every change brings so many challenges that managers and leaders of the organization need to be vigilant about the environmental changes. The environment of an organization consists of its surrounding, anything that affects the operation, favorable or unfavorable.
The next topic of Miss Modular will be the external and internal business environment. So, Jo?
The external business environment. Businesses do not operate in a vacuum, and they are influenced by forces beyond their control. How they respond and how quickly they respond to these external factors that can make the difference between success and failure, especially in today's fast-paced business climate. The external business environment consists of economic, political and legal, demographic, social, competitive, global, and technological sectors. Managers must understand how the environment is changing and the impact of those changes on business. Businesses operate in all of these environments simultaneously, and factors of one environment can affect complicate factors in one another. The firm's internal environment and its characteristic. The internal business environment comprises of factors within the company which impact the success and approach of operation. Unlike the external environment, the company is in control over these factors. It is important to recognize potential opportunities and threats outside the company's operations.
So, speaking of leaders, their jobs are not as easy as it sounds. especially when it comes to managing an organization. Here, to tell us more about the managerial performance of management teams, the singing bee, the dancing queen, the young and sweet only 17 plus 4 equals 21, Miss Angela Lois Dawes. A round of applause, please.
Thank you for the introduction, Clint.
So, welcome to the show, Miss Angela. So, you are here to tell us about management.
Yes, well, to be specific, the managerial performance of management teams, which is very important in every organization.
I totally agree with you. Management is very important. We use it to be organized like time management, and management is quite hard, if you ask me.
Sometimes it's hard to even manage my own self, let alone an entire organization with a lot of people. But it is very much a necessity for every organization in order to meet their goals.
Alright, Angela, the stage is yours.
Being at the top organization and those of first layer executives is not easy as it requires a broad knowledge and understanding of the general industry, the competitors, and the internal environment in which the firm operates. Now, what is management team? The management team is the highest senior team of managers and leaders of an organization, including the top leader. Now, it is not just a collection of top managers, but also a team whose results are leveraged by increased cooperation and teamwork, encompassing all the different functions of the organization. Generally speaking, the purpose of the management team is to successfully operate the organization it is heading with all that entails, as well as develop and execute a proper strategy for the future of the organization. The complexity of the challenges and the need for substantial amount of information and knowledge requires management teams of corporate executives for the implementation of strategic leadership for the safeguard of the present and future status in the industry. And that is the reason why management team must be composed of executives with knowledge and commitment for work productivity and efficiency in delivering stockholders' trust for their investments. Now, the quality of decisions made by the management team affects the firm's ability to innovate and engage in strategic change that is inevitable in a changing world of business. The firm must therefore invest in top caliber executives with appropriate knowledge and expertise to operate the internal human and financial resources in dealing with its stockholders and of those of competitors. To operate functionally and effectively, the team must be composed of heterogeneous group of top executives, leading team's efforts effectively. Number 1. Design the work structure that provides flexibility and autonomy for decision making. Now, flexibility meaning being able to adapt to change, and autonomy meaning it should not depend on other things and should be capable of being self-sufficient or independent. Number 2. Provide adequate corporate resources for members to accomplish the task, meaning to provide sources that is suitable for the company for members to accomplish the task. Number 3. Determine if the teams are necessary to accomplish corporate goals and objectives. Number 4. Determine the effectiveness of team members' contribution to work teams. Number 5. Ensure that all team members know and understand their respective role. Now, knowing and understanding are different things. Knowing is keeping in mind what your role is, while understanding is absorbing what your role is and doing your role the right way. Number 6, provide the training and corporate interventions through corporate consultants. And lastly, number 7, provide regular feedback regarding performance and accomplishments. The heterogeneous group of top executives is composed of managers with managerial leadership capabilities with varied knowledge, functional expertise, educational background and training, and experience with dealing with the challenge of new emerging system in the global arena of business. The more varied and heterogeneous the group of top executives, the more capacity it has to provide effective strategic leadership. Sustainable firms' growth is the product of cohesive and cooperative efforts of top executives that is the result of consultative discussions of issues affecting the firm's operation. These discussions increase the firm's ability of decisions, especially when synergy and synthesis emerge from the diverse perspectives that are generally superior to any one individual perspective.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth, Angela.
Yes, and now you know how important it is to have proper management.
And how important the managerial teams are.
Yes, and how we should not take them for granted. Have you experienced being taken for granted, Clint?
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Miss Angela Dowd. Her round of applause.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for having me.
So, hello, Miss Munani, one of the managers of Jollibee Food Corporation, which is one of the most successful fast food chain here in Mindanao.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Coleman, and good morning to all of our viewers. Hi, good morning.
How was the company doing?
It's doing good. Everything is well, even if we have pandemic, but we are still trying our best to satisfy our customers, even though they are at home or in our location.
Well, good to hear that. Speaking of a company that is doing well, when it comes to perform the daily operation of a business, the word teamwork is involved. I have heard that your company is known to have a good teamwork in the organization. So, Ms. Bunani, will you please share to us, to the viewers, how you lead and manage to build a good teamwork?
The secret of our success is teamwork. So today, I will share to you the cardinal characteristics and values of good work teams.
So first is members participate actively and positively.
It is important to be an active participant in a certain group because sometimes when working in a group, we are tempted to do nothing, sit back, and just let the other members do the work, right? But that's not the case because participation here is essential because it can solve complex problems that can take more than one mind. And I believe that you are all familiar with this quote saying, "Two heads are better than one."
Next is, members listen and receive thoughtful feedback.
As the manager, I give feedbacks to my employees because this is my way of giving compliments, corrections, and observations to their performance. And I believe that this is very useful for them because my aim here is to encourage and give directions to the things that is need to change, improve, and continue.
Next is willing to take risk and focus on ultimate goal.
Any big accomplishment requires risk or multiple of risk to get where you want to be. And achieving your goals means that you have to face whatever fears that may come up. And if your business is just staying in their comfort zone, doing nothing, or without the element of risk, there will be no innovations, new discoveries, or progress on your business.
Next is there exists open communication and teammates trust the judgment of others.
Trust is essential to an effective teamwork. Why? Because this provides a sense of safety. If your team members trust one another, they are far more likely to share their knowledge and communicate openly. Because a team without trust isn't really a team. They are just group of individuals who are working together. And in result, disappointing progress.
Next is support other team members willingly.
Support is encouraging each other even in times of struggle. And this is very important because the more people who are supportive with one another, the more strength there is available on the team.
Next is members take initiative to get things done on time.
When we say initiative, it means that you do things without being told. You find out things what you need to know, or you keep going when things get tough. So here, you act instead of reacting. And in today's workplace, the word initiative has been increasingly important, as organizations want employees who can think on their feet and take actions without waiting for someone to tell them what to do.
Next is understanding and committed to team objectives and working enthusiastically.
Commitment to work is the level of enthusiasm that an employee has toward his or her assigned task in the workplace. And when the team members understand their work and their goals, they become more committed to the team's success. And by that, they show their perseverance, hard work, and dedication toward their jobs.
Next is members influence others and get involved in decision making.
Participation in the decision-making process gives each employee the opportunity to voice out their opinions and share their knowledge with others. And it is also a good way to gather information from them, as they are the ones who faces the customers and operate the business daily. So it is important to understand who and what influences the decision-making process, because these factors affect the outcomes of the business.
Next is encourage everyone and acknowledge others.
Showing appreciation gives the team members the boost they need to stay engaged and productive over time, because they believe that the contributions and efforts are valued and not in vain.
Next is humbleness and accepting mistakes rather than blame other members.
As we go through life in any endeavor, we are going to make mistakes from time to time. So learn from it, because a mistake can be a great teacher. So don't miss the opportunity to grow from it. And maybe sometimes it is embarrassing to own up into a mistake, but admitting it, fixing it, ensuring that it won't happen again, or handle it with the proper manner, then better things will come into the future. Teamwork fosters creativity and innovation, blends complementary strengths, improves morale, and provides greater flexibility in the workplace. And I guess that is one of our secrets of why we become the successful business here in Mindanao.
Thank you so much, Miss Bunani. The things you have mentioned are very important, especially to those who are future managers in the company. It is always challenging to the leaders to build a camaraderie in a team as we have different opinions and ideas. I hope that our viewers see the beauty of a teamwork to create positive in the development, produce high-level performance, and increase business profitability. This next guest will be sharing her thoughts and information with us, and when I say amazing, I mean it. What's special about this guest is she is willing to learn and listen to all your thoughts and opinions, just like you are in a team or group in an organization. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a massive round of applause to Miss Nicole Seroy. Nicole, it's so good to have you here. How are you?
I'm doing really well, Mr. Kuming, and I am honored that you invited me to appear in your show.
Okay, that's good to hear, Miss Nicole. What can you share to us today, Miss Nicole? Is it about the factors to consider in development of management teams?
Yes, Mr. Kuming, I will be sharing about the factors to consider in development of management teams. So, the question is, what are the factors? First, the more heterogeneous the management team, the more difficult it is to manage. The more difficult it will be for the team to implement strategies. There are benefits if you have heterogeneous management team. With the benefits came the challenges of working across borders, cultures, and languages. The professional communication can be misinterpreted or difficult to understand because of its language and culture. And also, with a group that have different learning styles and abilities, the group members can find it difficult to communicate and understand the others' ideas and information. Second is the differences in opinions due to different background and experience. These arise problems like in colleagues from other cultures may be less likely to let their voices be heard. Professional communication can be misinterpreted or difficult to understand across languages and cultures. Towards work can be very different, reflecting cultural values and compounding differences. Third is diverse background may inhibit the process of decision making if not properly managed. As I mentioned earlier, if the people from the management have different background, it will be difficult for the organization if it is not properly managed. The fourth one is the suboptimal decision may be emerge when the threats and opportunities are not properly examined. This means that naadoy suboptimal decision if dili matarong og identify and examine ang threats and opportunities, which means na kana nga decision is low probability lang. When we say low probability, maglisod kag predict sa next nimo nga decision in the future, and if maglisod kag predict, you can prevent the possible risk that you might encounter in the future, like mga threats sa business nga paabutay. The fifth one is difficulty in bridging opinions due display of intellectual supremacy, especially when one asserts his position in the organization. It will be difficult to a person to express his or her opinion if there is supremacy in the management teams because of the gaps that's shown, and also when it comes to the positions, which will cause to individuals not to speak up. The last one is it requires high level of managerial leadership in the process of consultative capabilities and democratic steering opinions. This means a manager should have a high level leadership in a management team, kumbaga dapat mukuha kag feedback or opinion. Gi-emphasize nga ang consultative capabilities meaning ana kay mura kag gakuag feedback from others, and also the democratic steering opinions diri ang democratic voice or opinion sa usa ka team ang masunod dili lang sa imo regardless sa imong position as a manager or what level are you in. These factors that I have been discussed earlier will help the management team and the business to run efficiently and effectively in the future.
For our next topic, we will be knowing the characteristic of high-performing teams sa isa ka business, organization, or company.
So we have 5 characteristics, and the first one is high-driven task-oriented goal. We all know na yung task-oriented leadership is highly goal-focused, and ito yung mga kukumpleto talaga yung mga objectives ng isang business or company within specified deadlines. And goal-oriented people are more driven, right? So, because they define roles and set goals. Second will be with clear and elevating goals. Important din to since when you are reaching multiple goals along your journey, dapat kasi realistic to give you that feeling of accomplishment and ma-motivate ka to continue and do more. Third would be committed and competent. Dapat sincere ka and dedicated sa purpose ng isang company, dapat din na align with the business strategy because we all know that competence in the absence of strategy is like acting without an audience. Fourth would be collaborative climate of trust. Ito yung isa sa pinaka-important business and brand asset na dapat i-manage ng isang company, especially nga when it comes to relationships between customers, clients, and employees, and etc. Fifth is high standard of excellence. We all know that the main goal of a company is to have a vision of high standards. In serving its people, you not only exemplify excellence in your own behavior, but you also transplant it to others so that they too become committed to this vision. Yeah, so yun lang yun.
Also, wala jud di ay single structures and strategies that work effectively sa isa ka business?
Yeah, that's why the language of business is change for better or the best.
But what about this power being the throne? Unsa na siya? Unsay pasabot?
Diba, as I have said earlier, and sa mga past discussions, and sa mga nasabi ng iba, ang strategies and structure that has been pointed out, mao na sila ang mga mag-determine where successful or not ang isa ka firm.
Oh, kaya di ay, there are some companies, no, nga na-failed to match the strategies and structures that resulted in some failures while ang uban na-overcome nila ang mga adversaries sa business environment. So, structurally defined in many corporations? Is that correct? Is that right?
Structurally defined in many corporations, ang BOD, ang policy-making body sa isang organization, while ang COO naman ang implementing arm of the board with regards to the policy decisions. Management team with capabilities and expertise paired with democratic process of strategic formulation and implementation would develop better performance rather and ma-achieve jud ang corporate return on investments. Ang kaning top management, kailangan they must work hand in hand in developing strategic policies and decisions para consistent with its mandate of corporate growth and expansion.
Are there any positive and negative effects?
Yes, there are. Yes, actually, there are positive and negative impacts in terms of duality functions. Positive when the members are heterogeneously selected and has and naa sila expertise in the different operations, and negative when the members of the board and the top executives have their own personal agendas rather than the interests of the corporation.
Wow! Thank you so much for that information, Miss Celine Obeneta. Now I can say that grabe gyud kay siya ka-importante. So, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Miss Celine Abenieta. Thank you so much, Miss Celine. So, for our next guest, she is the Miss Universe of Liceo de Cagayan University. Help me welcome Miss Zarlea Payusan. A round of applause, please.
So hello Arnie. So today we will be tackling about staffing the corporate team.
So, Miss Zarlea, what do you mean by staffing?
So when we say staffing refers to the continuous process of finding, selecting, evaluating, and developing a working relationship with current or future employees, and its main goal is to fill the various roles within the company with suitable candidates. The staffing of corporate team members is a very critical organization decision as it has important implications to the firm's performance. Oo, ganun! Mamshi!
Oh, wow! And I heard there are two different sourcing strategies. Can you discuss further what these two are?
Sure. So we have the internal and external sourcing strategies. I will discuss the internal sourcing strategies first. So when we say internal sourcing strategies, this is the assessment of people within the organization who are ready for corporate governance. Kumbaga kani siya ga-promote ka of positions sa imo mga tao. Of course, may mga advantages if mag-hire ka ng internal source. First, naana sila yung knowledge about the firm's operation that brought them to competitive advantage. Second, mas familiar sila sa company's products and operation. Third, naana sila yung knowledge sa system and operating procedure. Develop na po ilang moral and commitment. They also have a lower turnover rate of valuable managers. And lastly, they have higher sustained performance and lower ilang training costs. Diba? Ma'am Shi, how are you?
Wow! That is so amazing! Dagan jud kayod benefits if mag-hire from internal source. I also believe that they should be provided to managerial positions para ready sila to assume higher positions in organization. Right, Miss Zar?
Exactly, Arnie. With that man good na ay vertical and horizontal expansion. And ang mutual success ba sa usap organization kay God depends on trusted people who dedicatedly perform their job with their mutual performance and excellence kay love man nila ilang trabaho and happy sila sa ilang accomplishments.
Grabe guys, no? That is why need jud nato ihatag ato ang best, especially sa atong line of work. So Miss Zar, what is the second sourcing strategy? Would you like to share us with us?
Okay, Arnie. So moving on to the external sourcing strategy na po. Mauni ang process of collecting career positions from outside the organization other than one for which they work currently. Dahil lang, critical sa firm ang selection of top management positions, especially if the top executives would come from outside the organization. But of course, it has some advantage as well. First, it brings new blood to the organization. Second, you get experience in other firm-developed new strategies. Third, makahatag siya chances in current strategies when top teams and homogeneous in character. Fourth, it has innovation and technology updates. Lastly, the development of new system and procedure.
So, for you, Zar, what can the board of directors get from this? Kaning pag-hire og bitaw og people outside the firm?
For me, outside succession is an extraordinary event to business firms and could usually be seen as a start indicator na ang board of directors will still changes in its direction and strategies, and I think that is a good thing.
Yes, thank you so much, Miss Zarlea. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Miss Zarlea Payusan. A round of applause, please. So, After hearing how we are staffing our corporate team, it is really indeed important to acknowledge the positions of our staffs for them to effectively contribute to the organizational success. Now, let's hear some ideas of the different effective strategic leadership that a business can do to positively achieve their goals. This will be discussed by our legendary and unstoppable mother of Mobile Legends corporations. Let's all welcome Miss Haname Solifa. A round of applause, please.
Hi, Clint. I am so honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Welcome again to the show, Miss Hannah. We are also glad to hear from you once again. So, can you tell us more, some ideas of how you make effective strategies when it comes to leading?
Well, for our company to succeed, we just have to be mission focused and, of course, to serve the public for a greater good. We must also analyze our own company's capabilities and we must be wise enough for our own decision making. Indeed, today, I will give you some ideas of what is effective strategic leadership and also how can you use it for your company's success.
Wow! We can't wait to listen to your ideas, Miss Hannah. Now, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Clint, and hello everyone. Welcome aboard. Did you know, the more uncertain an environment is, the greater opportunity you have? But how? Well, if you have an effective strategic leadership, you can capitalize on it. And today, we are going to learn what is effective strategic leadership and how can we use it to make a company gain greater heights. So let's start. So first, how to be an effective strategic leader? Well, being an effective strategic leader, you must exhibit a strong sense of curiosity, an insatiable thirst to learn more about what is under your industry, your competitive landscape, and your own business operation. Being curious, it functions as an intuition of sorts and helps you proactively anticipate possible challenges and even constantly ask why does changes occur, right? This curiosity enhances your ability to anticipate trends, shifts, and disruptions because you're so plugged into subtle shifts in the market. Indeed, being curious will be extremely helpful in your vision development and planning process. The making of effective leadership for corporate governance involves the long-term vision of the firm's strategic intent. Effective strategic leaders possesses a strong ability to conceptualize far-reaching objectives while still being able to take necessary actions to execute on both long-term and short-term goals. Indeed, strategic leaders must be able to turn their vision into action, even when they aren't on the ground floor making those visions a reality. So as a highly focused visionaries, an effective strategic leader maintain a clear perspective of what tomorrow might bring and are able to effectively communicate their visions in order to encourage actions. So the ideal vision is divided into the firm's core ideology that motivates employees to perform their tasks effectively. So while being confident in your own knowledge as an effective strategic leader, you must also realize the value that your coworkers or team members' new ideas can bring. You must take care to integrate those ideas into visions for the business. It is because having an envisioned future encourages employees to stretch beyond their expectation of accomplishments and requires significant changes and progress in order to be realized. So this core ideology is reflected in the desire of most future employees to be employed in such corporations such as the San Miguel, the Philippine Airline, the PLDT, and even the banking institutions such as the BPI, and many other corporate organizations in the local setting that has the corporate ideology of taking care of their employees in terms of benefits, salaries beyond minimum wages, and other perks that motivates them to do their jobs beyond the ordinary. So the envisioned future of those corporations that was mentioned earlier is securing employment and retiring plans that serve as guide to many aspects of the firm's strategy implementation process, which includes motivated employees at work, employees empowerment, leadership strategies, and stratified organizational design. A more positive and productive way to manage people is to nurture their talent. Encouraging your staff to play to their strengths will bring increased engagement and loyalty. So indeed, by incorporating multiple perspectives in unique ways, strategic leaders will help foster a business culture that values the free flow of information, and in turn, it is better able to adapt to change. So that's all I can teach you of how to be an effective strategic leader and how to make an effective leadership strategies that might help you and your company achieve greater heights. So, did you learn something? I hope so. Back to you, Clint.
Hello?
Hello po, Ma'am Fai. Ngayon po yung interview niyo po.
Akala ko bukas pa yung interview ko. Nagja-jogging pa ako ngayon eh. Nasa sports
Pasensya
center
na
pa
po,
ako.
nakalimutan ko pong sabihin.
Okay, sige. Papunta na ako. Pero baka abutin pa ako ng mga alas 8 kasi wala pang jeep eh. 5 a.m. pa kasi ngayon eh. Tatakbo na ako papunta dyan. Okay?
Okay po, thank you.
Sige, sige. Bye.
Okay, our next guest is, I believe, fresh from Sports Center kasi pawisan pa nga at mukhang hindi na-inform sa happenings today. So, let's us all welcome Miss Faizalia Buat. I am sorry, she's married pala. Mrs. Faizalia Buat San Jose.
Good day, everyone. Hi, hello. How
I'm
are
good.
you?
Okay, so Miss Fai, since you are a successful manager and an effective leader of Faizalia Tower in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, what can you add up to Miss Hannah's mentioned components of effective strategic leadership earlier?
You know, Mr. Clint, ability to develop the human resources is one of the most important things to consider.
Yes, I totally agree to that.
As you all believe, the only constant thing in this world is change, diba?
Yes, of course.
Yes. So our product operation should be developed too because of our customers' up-to-date preferences, along with the technology diversification. And of course, for that case, we will also need trained and skilled people to operate our technologies, diba? And hindi yung basta-basta ka na lang kukuha ng mga tao, mag-hire ng mga tao kasi pamilya mo, close mo, friend mo, shota mo. Hindi ganon. Successful business operation and an effective leadership doesn't work that way. So effective leaders and, firms view human power in the organization as component resources for the effective production of goods and services that need to be maximized rather than the cost to be minimized. As I said earlier, Mr. Clint, human resource development is very important kasi, kagaya kanina, yung staff nyo, on the spot na ako sinabihan na ngayon pala yung interview ko, paano kung busy ako ngayon, diba? Di naghintay yung mga viewers nyo, di na-disappoint sila, diba? At paano rin kung halimbawa may show ako ngayon at iba rin yung show ko sa inyo bukas, hindi doble gastos ko kasi babayaran niyo yung show ko dito at yung pagkabukas pa, diba? At saka ano yung isipin ng mga tao? Yung staff ba, yung palpak o yung director? Diba yung director? Kasi siya yung nagdadirect sa mga tao niya, sa mga staff niya. At kaya, ayun, iisipin ng mga tao, hindi effective yung leadership ng director niya, diba? Pero okay lang. Ayun nga lang, medyo pagod ako at ayun, buti na lang, naka-prepare pa kahit konti. Kaya importante rin na aware yung mga staff natin, yung mga tao natin, kahit yung director, kung ano talaga yung mga duties and responsibilities nila. And that can be done by developing the human resource management.
Very well said, Miss Fai. I mean, no hate to our show, but I was so shocked and at the same time worried. Kasi nga, kanina lang din ako na-inform na kasama ka sa i-interviewin ngayon. Buti na lang ready tayo lagi, di ba?
Yes, okay lang. Matagdag ko rin pala na yung sustainable and effective organizational culture. Kasi importante rin to eh. Kasi ang organizational culture or the company's way of running their businesses influences its employees. Diyan din kasi nakadepende kung yung performance ng mga tao mo within the organization. Doon din kasi nakadepende. Dito rin na-improve yung ways of life ng mga tao mo within the organization, like the culture, autonomy, how wise enough they are to use their freedom inside to be more creative, they'll think out of the box, diba?
Tama. Kasi, most of the time, mas nakakaisip tayo ng creative things when we are free from organizational constraints.
Siyempre, kasama na rin dyan yung culture of innovativeness. Yes. This more likely sa yung culture autonomy. Another one is the culture of risk-taking. Being creative or innovative, parang na rin parang you are being a risk-taker na kasi you will not do something out of the box kung yung risk tolerance mo ay very low, diba?
Exactly.
Kasama na rin dyan yung culture of productiveness, competitive aggressiveness, and re-engineering strategies. Since everyone is, already a market leader, not a follower, dyan na mag-clash yung mga ideas ng mga tao sa loob. So, bale, kung sa loob pa lang ng company nyo, competitive na yung mga ideas ng mga tao mo, how much more if you use that ideas to make an effective strategy that can bring your company into a competitive advantage and have a long-term profitability, diba? Salamat sa lahat. Tuloy ko na rin yung pag-jogging ko kasi naputol eh. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Ay, wait lang, Miss Pai.
Akala ko matapos na.
May tanong pa pala ako sa iyo. Tignan mo, nakalimutan ko na rin ang mga tanong ko dapat sa iyo kasi nga, dapat bukas pa yung interview mo. Well, anyways, what can you say about corporate strategic direction?
Thanks for asking that, no? The firm must develop a long-term vision of its strategic intent. When we say long-term vision, meaning grabe yung plano dyan, like everyone is contributing and everyone's idea for a company's vision ay mahalaga because it serves as strategic leadership behaviors guide. Kasi it is not just a vision it helps the organization analyze its different aspect of operation. At dahil ang vision is came from the people inside the organization, importante talaga na effective rin yung organizational structure para mataas yung chances to achieve its organizational vision, mission, and goals.
True. Pero, dapat may consistency. Like, need i-maintain rin ang mga core competencies. Right?
Exactly, Mr. Kim. Speaking of maintenance, maintaining and exploiting core competencies is also needed to have an effective strategic leadership. Do not settle for less. Do not do product innovation to be updated and so the value of a product retains or even go beyond an affordable price. And for that case, the customer relations will rise and kasi andyan na yung satisfaction and the patronage also and the loyalty will be present na rin.
Nga naman, di dahil masaya na ang mga customers natin sa current features of our products, okay na rin tayo. What I mean to say is, maintain the development para makasabay sa panahon or tinatawag nating trending.
Ganun naman Ganun.
So, ayun na nga, ang dami nating mga natutunan ngayon on how to have an effective strategic leadership, and that was from Miss Faizalia, the CEO and the founder of well-known Faizalia Tower in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Once again, thank you so much. We appreciate your time and effort, lalo na sa last minute ko na na-inform sa'yo.
Wala ka naman. One call away lang ako when you need an advice again about business world.
Direk, narinig nyo ha?
At saka sa mga viewers natin, no, kung gusto nyo ng advice about sa business, pwede nyo kaming kontakin sa Facebook, official Facebook page namin. I-search nyo lang Faizalia Tower. At pwede rin kayong mag-subscribe sa aming YouTube channel kasi nag-a-upload kami ng mga videos about mga tips kung paano maging effective yung operation or yung environment ng isang business. Ay, direct pakilagay na lang sa screen yung YouTube channel namin at saka Facebook page. Isasend ko mamaya yung picture namin. Sige.
Okay. God bless Miss Fai. More power.
Thank you.
So, our next guest is coming from Lourdes Corporation, no other than Miss Lizelle Palma. A round of applause, please.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Mr. Clint. So, in continuation with Ms. Buat, I'm here to talk about the fifth and sixth component of effective strategic leadership, which is corporate ethical standards and practices and balancing organizational control.
Wow, I didn't know that there are a lot of components. I'm eager to learn more about that, and I think the audience as well. So, Ms. Palma, can you tell us what this is all about?
Yes, I am delighted to share my thoughts on this matter. These standards and practices affect the image of the organization. It allows the members of the organization to act ethically in doing what is necessary while building goodwill and reputable image among individuals, customers, groups, stakeholders, and other people who are involved in the organization.
So, in what way does ethics play a role to the organization?
Ethics has an important part to play on having a great organization. Having good ethics shapes the organization's judgment and ethical behavior. When these are practiced properly, it can develop more cohesive workforce and motivate employees to do what is right and ethical. Also, having balance in the organizational control is very important. It is the final component of effective strategic leadership. Having control is necessary because it helps ensure the organization to fulfill their dreams.
I heard that in balancing organizational control, there are factors that can be used. What are these factors?
Okay, so there are 6 factors that can be used in balancing organizational control. Number 1, we have the use of strategies in the implementation new programs, factors that alter or revise existing procedures, activities that builds credibility to consumers and stakeholders, activities that support strategic change, controls that provide related adjustment in resources, and lastly, financial and resource control in the implementation of strategies.
Okay, now, what are the benefits of having a good balance in organizational control?
An effective balance between strategic and financial controls allows for the flexible use of core competencies within the parameters of the firm's position in the industry and their capacity to competitively address the present and future economic situation in their environment. Strategic leadership will flourish under the system of balanced control structure and strategies. And that's all. I hope you learned something and see you next time. Bye.
Wow, thank you so much, Miss Palma. I believe that the audience are satisfied with all of your answers. So, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Lizelle Palma. A round of applause, please. Thank you so much. I believe that ends our show, and I hope all of you learned something from us. So, this has been Clint Arnold coming, and see you next in my show. Bye-bye!